right, everyone please stand for the flags. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation with God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notification of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the record and posting notice of this meeting in Borough Hall and the Superintendent's office. I hereby call to order the public meeting of the Little Ferry Board of Education, Thursday, October 19, 2023 at 7:04 p.m. Can I please have a roll call?
Mrs. Bertoli.
Here.
Mrs. Duran. Mr. Phytros. Here. Mrs. Gottlieb.
Here.
Mr. Mealy. Here. Ms. Vilasuzo. Mr. Voracek. Here. Mr. Benelli. Here. Mrs. Bradley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Be it resolved that the Little Ferry Board of Education approves the minutes of the regular public meeting held on September 21st, 2023. Do I have a motion? Motion. Second? Second.
All right. Mrs. Bertoli.
Yes.
Mrs. Duran. Mr. Phytros. Yes. Mrs. Gottlieb. Mr. Mealy. Yes. Ms. Vilasuzo.
Yes.
Mr. Voracek. Yes. Mr. Benelli.
Yes.
Mrs. Bradley.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right, I'll now open it up to Mr. Carapato to provide superintendent's report.
All right, let's start with the student of the month, but I don't have the list on order. So it was done.
No, it's Victoria. I have the list if you need it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Thanks, Michelle.
Having your backups, Leslie.
Where is she?
You need it.
oh, yeah, not that one. Well, I have- We have, all right, so I am pleased to inform you that Ariana Cruz is our September student of the month. Teachers at the grade level made these selections for the award, and the following things to say about Ariana. She demonstrates kindness in working with her peers. She has a pleasant personality, a cooperative demeanor that helps motivate those around her, and she's a model. She has a model work ethic. Congratulations, Ariana.
Thank you.
Family? Of course.
Trying to keep you brain within. We don't. Three. Two.
Yeah. So our sixth grade, I think I just gave it, right? The fifth grade winner was, our award recipient was Alden Perez. Congratulations, you got here tonight. Our seventh grade winner was Taj Patel, who's also not here this evening, but we do have. I am pleased to inform you that Anthony Rivera has been chosen for the September Student of the Month at his grade level. Teachers at his grade level had the following things to say. He is very attentive in class. He is hardworking. He is helpful to teachers and students in the hallway. He is always extremely respectful. Congratulations, Anthony.
Good. Good. Agree.
As the first one learning background. Right, there's a few other things for my report. We'll get to go on. A couple things just to update the public. Corinne Brown from the Office of Principal Education from the NJDOE came to conduct a site visit on Thursday. Stated that we were off to a great start and ahead of the game. She was very impressed with where the program is and has been encouraging other districts to use us as a model, which was very kind words from her. We had a great report. I want to thank Ms. Bajer and her team for all their hard work and appreciate what they're doing. The administration and staff will be having a staff development day on October 25th. The school will be closed to students. Staff will have PD that consists of team building, reveal math, inclusive teaching, investigations math, and jump rope readers. And we are looking forward to a great productive day. Student representatives that will be sitting on the dais will be joining us in the November meeting. We are going to be hosting an information and feedback sessions with National Food Service for parents and students. We'll have 2 dates with that planned, and we'll be inviting parents and students to attend those sessions. There'll be food samples. They'll want your input. They'll want to know different menu items and things of that nature. So we're looking forward to that. And in addition, this year, National Food Service is also bringing in for the 2nd through 8th grade chef for a day, which will have some type of incentive program, and then a child from each grade level will be chosen this year to be a chef for the day. Little Ferry PT is hosting the Matthew Bocci story on opioid awareness on October 25th here from 7 to 9 in the gymnasium, as well as their annual dodgeball tournament on October 26th right here in our gymnasium. Rise and Shine program for intervention in Title I students will be projected start date of November 13th. Correct? Perfect. Newsletter, bi-weekly updates, main source of communication. So again, we're just encouraging everybody in the community to please read the newsletter. If you're going to choose one thing to get your information from, I strongly encourage it to be the newsletter. And the last 2 things, which I found out about, I want to say one is around 3:30 and one another at 5 o'clock. So I'll start with congrats to our volleyball team on their first victory today, which is amazing. Thanks, John. And also very impressive, and she's not here tonight, but Jen Ali was named the 2023 Bergen County Prosecutor's Office SRO of the Year. So I haven't even been able to congratulate her myself, but we will be putting out a nice email and putting her on social media. But very impressive, happy that she's here with us and protecting our students. So all good stuff. And on that note, Mr. Dunn, for the NJSLA test results. Oh, yes, before you start, Mr. Dunn, the families that were awarded the Students of the Month, at this time, we just like to offer you to stay for the entire meeting, but at this point, if you would like to leave, we don't want you to feel uncomfortable getting up in some of these presentations. So if you'd like to leave, by all means, you can leave, but if you want to stay, then we are here. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll be presenting the NJSLA and DLM results from our spring testing period. So just a little bit about the DLM, which is the dynamic learning map. This is an assessment which is given and designed to measure the academic progress of students who have significant cognitive disabilities in New Jersey. It's intended for students who cannot participate in the NJSLA due to their disability. And the assessment is in English language arts and in math. Now, as you'll see throughout the presentation, if there is a report group of less than 10, we cannot report the results. Therefore, since our report group is less than 10, I cannot report the results. I can inform you that the families were sent their scores in September, and that we were very pleased with these scores. Just a little bit about the test itself. It's designed to measure the academic progress, as I said, of students with significant disabilities and it's meaningful and relevant. So this test is individualized and tailored to the individual student. It provides feedback to the educators and to aid them in their planning and instruction for these children in the following year. Again, it's an alternative assessment. It's formative. It's not a one-time test. It's actually done over the course of numerous days to accommodate the students so they can start and stop to meet their needs. These children would be unable to sit for the entirety of the test. It's a really nice test. Teachers are using this to inform instruction now. All right, starting with notable achievements on the NJSLA. So in Algebra 1, which is taken by the 8th graders, 88% of our students met or exceeded on this test. That's 53% higher than the state average for met or exceeded. So 50% higher. So our Algebra 1 knocked it out of the park. It's 20% higher on the state average just for exceeded, and it's 16% higher than last year. So overall, just stunning score in Algebra 1. In math, 5 out of the 6 grade levels improved from their 2022 scores. Grades 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 all improved from their scores, which is tremendous. And I'll go through a bit later about who beat the state. In ELA, 4 of our 6 grade levels improved from the year before, and the 2 grade levels that didn't, the only reason they didn't is because they did so extremely well last year that they just didn't beat those scores this year, but they ended up outperforming the state, which was outstanding. And in science, we improved from our 2022 scores. Science is something that has been struggling with in the state, and it's just really nice to see that our grades, and only grades 5 and 8 take that assessment, both improved. All right, so a little bit about the scores. So as we go through them, there's 5 levels from not meeting expectations to exceeding expectations. And they're given on 3 assessments: English language arts for grades 3 through 8, math for grades 3 through 8, and science for grades 5 and 8. So first, we're going to start with English language arts. So a lot of numbers up here. I'm going to focus you to the right, starting from the top right, moving down, and looking at the changes in level 1 and 2 from last year to this year. And a decrease is good. So in 3rd grade, you see a decrease in the level 1 and 2, and a decrease in the levels 1 and 2, and then on the inverse, an increase on the levels 4 and 5. So students who were performing below level decrease, and students who were performing at or above level increase. In grade 4, you'll see a slight increase in that level 1 and 2, and a slight decrease in the level 4 and 5. Again, that's due to our really tremendous performance last year, and it's still equated to over 50% of the grade level passing. As we move down, grade 5, you can see that decrease again in levels 1 and 2, almost 33% increase in levels 4 and 5, which is just outstanding. In grade 6, a slight increase in levels 1 and 2, but an increase overall in levels 4 and 5, students passing. In grade 7, you'll see a slight increase in levels 1 and 2 and a slight decrease in those passing. However, even despite that slight decrease, 60% of our students passed in 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, you see a really nice jump in a nice decrease in those at a level 1 or 2, and almost 11% increase in level 4 and 5. All right, in math, going again to the top, focusing all the way to the top right, and looking at our math scores. In grades 3, you see that decrease again in levels 1 and 2. So in that first column, you want to see negative, and you see negative all the way down, which is outstanding. You see positives on the other side for the most part. So a decrease in levels 1 and 2, and improved in levels 4 and 5 for those passing. The same in 4th grade, same in 5th grade, with an even larger decrease in those who were performing below level. Again, a decrease in below level, and an increase in above level in 6th and in 7th grade. And in 8th grade, there was a slight decrease in both. Across the state of New Jersey, the scores in 8th grade math were the biggest struggle. And it is noted that almost a quarter of our students are in Algebra 1 in 8th grade. So that skews the scores slightly. And you can see in algebra, there's no change in levels 1 and 2 because no student scored that low. Only two out of the 25 students that took the assessment last year did not pass. And there was a 50% increase. Then in science, you can see again, looking all the way to the right-hand column, the decrease in levels 1 and 2, which is good. That means our students are improving, and that increase in levels 3 and 4. There's only 4 levels on the map, levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that increase is really huge, and that's what we're looking for. We're still coming out of COVID. Last year was kind of our first real year. This year is feeling like it even more. And seeing those numbers of increase in score really just allows us to measure our students against our students. The state's going to measure us against the state, but when we measure us against ourselves, we see that improvement, which we're very proud of. All right, a little bit of comparison of us to the state. So again, we're looking from top to bottom. In the first column, you'll see levels 1 and 2, and then to the right, you'll see levels 4 and 5. So you see that there is a little decrease again and an increase, and our comparison to the state, we beat the state there. In 4th grade, we're a little bit below what the state was at, but again, our 4th grade had performed so high in 2022 that it actually evened out, and we were able to outperform the state. 5th grade, you see that increase once again, where levels 1 and 2 went down much significantly more than the state, and a significant increase in those meeting or exceeding, not only in Little Ferry, but in comparison to the state. Kudos to 5th grade and this fall. In 6th grade, you'll see matches in level 1 with just a slight increase, but meeting at what the state level was, and an increase overall in levels 4 and 5 and outperforming the state. In 7th grade, you see a slight increase in levels 1 and 2, and a slight decrease in levels 4 and 5. But again, grades 4 and 7 outperformed the state in 2022, and we're able to outperform the state overall. So while the scores went down slightly, we still are achieving above the state level. And then in 8th grade, you see a very dramatic decrease in levels 1 and 2, and very dramatic in comparison to the state, showing that our 8th grade made a tremendous amount of progress. Thanks to the teachers for that. And there was a nice jump in those meeting or exceeding. All right, in math, same charts. We have levels 1 and 2 to the left, levels 4 and 5 to the right. Again, we're looking for those negatives in levels 1 and 2, which you see right down the board, except for algebra and math, because no one got a level 1 or 2. So there was a decrease in students struggling. And when you look to the right in the white column, you'll see there's an increase across every grade except grade 8. Again, I wanted to note that grade 8, 25% of our population takes the algebra 1, and the state average was struggling as well. All right, science. Same chart, smaller amount because there's only 2 grade levels that take it. You see in that first column that negative again in levels 1 and 2 and 5 and 8. So we see that decrease in students struggling, and you see that increase. And the negatives beat the state in a good way, and the positives beat the state in a good way. So we're outperforming what the state's growth measures were in science as well. Next up is the amount of students tested. The only major discrepancy was in grade 4. We had a large amount of students who were newcomers to the country. And if you're a newcomer to the country, you are exempt from taking the English language arts assessment in the first year. So that's why there was a significant amount of students less. And the same actually occurred within 8th grade. There was a significant increase in students coming from out of the country, so they're exempt from taking the exam. In mathematics, essentially no change. You can just see in that 4th and the 8th grade, the difference of a couple of students just being out. Students who are newcomers still take the assessment, but as long as we're in the 90% with minimal change, we're considered compliant with the state. And then finally for science, minimal change there, just a 1% difference, just off by a student or 2 in each. All right. Last one, it gets slightly redundant, but I'll try and point out some differences here. The state mandated presentation that I have to give. So again, we're looking in comparison from our performance last year versus the state and this year versus the state. So some key things, if you're looking from the top left going down, and we're talking about ELA right now, you'll see an increase or increase in performance from last year to this year. Not quite at the state level in the level 1, but that's a good thing. These are students who are not meeting or partially meeting. But there was that increase in the students. Moving our way down, you see that again, the level 1 decreased. We're below the state in those level ones, which shows that we're making that progress for our struggling learners. The same in grades 5 through 8. You'll see that there's a slight decrease in the level 1 in comparison to the state. And then moving over to the right to the level 2s, looking all the way in the final 2 columns on the left-hand side, you'll see that our performances are below the state. In this case, again, that's good because it's students who are not bad. All right, now we get to the 3s and 4s. These are 3s are students who are approaching, are just on the cusp of making it. So looking across from last year to this year, again, some of the numbers are skewed where you'll see, oh, they actually went down a little bit, but that's good because we had more students meeting it. So I'm going to focus your attention all the way to the right-hand side at level 4, where you'll see our amount of students passing, and all the way down from grades 3 through grades 7. We're just getting really close in grade 6. Sorry, level 5 brought us up. We're able to outperform the state in all of those categories. In grade 6, the addition of the level 5 actually had us outperform the state. And then level 5, these are students who have exceeded expectations. You'll see the comparison from left to right, what we did in 2022 to what we did this year with the state in white. And you can see a nice increase across third grade with those improving. Fourth grade went down slightly, but again, our students who met improved. An increase in grade 5, and a highlight is really grade 6. We had a nice over 10% jump. Grade 7 went down slightly in those exceeding. However, those who met the assessment improved. All right, as I had mentioned earlier, a little bit about the 8th grade data. Since 25% of our students participate in Algebra 1, it's not necessarily representative of the 8th grade as a whole, just a representation of that, the 8th graders that took it. All right, so ELA, or over to math now, not ELA. I left English in there by mistake. So again, looking at level 1, looking from the left to the right, the numbers decreased across, and it was significant in grades 5, that decrease. Looking across at our level 2s, you'll see a nice decrease in our level 2s in comparison, not only to the state, but from the previous year. And highlighting the good is really what I love to do. You can see level 3, which is approaching the expectations, which is the kids that are just on the cusp. So we've increased our students who are almost at the point of passing across the grades 3 through 8 on the majority. And then level 4, which is our students passing, you can see how we are outperforming ourselves. And in grade 3, we outperformed the state. In grade 4, we were right on the cusp with our level 5, bringing us a lot closer. We're right on the cusp on grade 5 with our level 5 bringing us over the top. In grade 6, we're right on the cusp, but we had a tremendous amount of students outperform, so that brought us right up as well. And then in grade 8, we struggled a bit, but again, our algebra really outperforming the state. And then finally, our level 5s, who have exceeded expectations, same type of chart. Far left, you have last year's state, and then this year and this year's state averages. So little change in 3rd grade, slight improvement in 4th grade, little change in 5th grade, improvement in 6th grade, improvement in 7th grade, no change in 8th, and a really nice jump in which really shows that, you know, our high flyers are really working hard to outperform the state. And then finally, science. The important notes are, when you look at the state levels, you can see that we're right on par with the state at our level 1s, right on par with the state at our level 2s. And moving to 3 and 4, 3 being proficient, 4 being advanced proficient, you can see that we're right at the level of the state, just slightly below in both. But there is that improvement from previous years overall. All right, the comparison of These statistics from school to school doesn't exist because we have one elementary and one middle school. And that includes the various levels. We can't compare schools to schools because we have one elementary and one middle school. All right, so a little bit of the breakdown of the demographics. Again, as I mentioned earlier in the DLM, there are certain groups that could not be reported because they were less than 10. They're listed off to the right. In these graphs, you can see the performances of some of the subgroups. In ELA is yellow and blue is math. And the struggles are really what we use this data to help highlight our title funding for the next year and our focuses of our studies. So Black African American students and Latino students in mathematics will be a population of focus, and Latino students in ELA. In three other categories: economically disadvantaged, multilingual learners, and IEP students. In math, all three of these students would qualify as a targeted group moving forward. And in ELA, the MLL or multilingual learners and IEP students would be targeted for further support as well. Finally, in science, the Hispanic or Latino population, students with IEPs, and those who are economically disadvantaged were groups that struggled, and then they will be identified for additional support next year. All right, so what do we do with this data, and what are some of the things that we do next? So we're going to continue on with a lot of the things that we did last year. One successful thing was our family engagement night, which brought in families, specifically invited our students who are Title I or low performing, with all families welcome. We just held our first one last month and are looking forward to what they will continue to bring throughout the year, with 4 per year. And we're able to provide small group instruction to families on strategies that they can use at home. We see our students for 6 hours a day, so having that homeschool connection is important to help advance our children. Our Rise and Shine high impact tutoring, which started myself, Mr. Argall, and Mr. Parapato 2 years ago, just trying to get extra reads in with our students, has grown to a about 4 or 3 to 1 teacher to student ratio, or student to teacher ratio, to provide that high impact tutoring specifically in math or language arts, which the state has found to be extremely helpful in moving students forward in their learning acceleration. So Rise and Shine is given before school, it's data driven based on various assessment results, including the NGSLA. We use I-rated next steps, guided reading, and math for accuracy and efficiency practice. Our learning academies occur before school, but mostly after school. Also data-driven, specific interventions in ELA and math, and they focus on their I-ready next step lessons, which is an assessment taken 3 times per year. Another great district goal, and something that we put in place this year, is the win period, or what I need now. Every grade level, K through 8, gets a 50-minute block every single day in which they can receive interventions in ELA or math, or in their content area classroom, they can receive small group instruction. At this time, they can also be pulled or gifted and talented for ESL instruction, so as not to miss the content area. Our math interventions, we have 2 elementary math interventionists and 1 middle school interventionist, providing small group instruction in those win periods, groups of 2 to 4, as well as in-class support in grades K through 8. In literacy, we have 3 at the elementary level, 1 at the middle school, again, providing that intervention in our win periods, small groups of 1 to 4 students, and again, that in-class support in kindergarten through 8. And then finally, we have 2 teachers who will be completing their FDU Wharton-Gillingham multisensory approach to literacy certification this year, which is an intensive 2-year program, which we're very proud of them, and we were able to use our to fund them with. And that's going to move not only the students that they see forward, but all the teachers that they'll be able to turnkey that information to.
Very good.
And at 16 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. We'll now open it up to Mr. Gomez for the board secretary report.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to start with facilities. We just finished reviewing quotes for resurfacing the basketball court. We hope to do that once the weather is warm enough. So February, March, we intend on withdrawing that amount of money from the maintenance reserve, so you'll see a resolution on next month. For that, we have plenty of money. Now we're reviewing what was planned, and we had planned univents, exterior doors, and a parking lot, but we and the superintendent will review if that is still valid. So that would be done on a capital reserve. So food service. So we have processed so far 341 applications. We're up 30 students classified free. Denied is the number that's down, so that's where it came from. So right now, we're all caught up. Everybody's status is current in pay schools, which is what drives the cash register system. And so we're in pretty good shape. Right now, we're going to start conducting the verification process. We verify, what's the percentage? 3%. So we take 3% of the applications that are within a certain percentage of what's allowable, and we ask those families for proof. So that's what that process is. So as of 10/19, we are now using all of the determinations that were made this current year. We held last year's until now, and we'll make sure everything is updated in the register system for all the students. We'll be issuing another wave of letters for determinations, just to make sure all the parents know where they are in terms of free, reduced, or paid. We have some numbers for participation for meals. So in September 2022, we served 4,188 lunches. September 2023, we served 5,066. Breakfast was not so good, but me and the superintendent are monitoring October, and right now we're way ahead. So I think September was a glitch. We're also working with our vendor. I've had some problems running the reports, so we're working with pay schools to see why. But we did see the numbers, so we're good there. So in terms of sales, and I have to verify the number, was about $12,000 in sales for the month of September. Today in the bank, we received $16,171 between the federal and state subsidy for the program. So yeah, it's actually in the bank. So I'm a happy camper. So next, so that's where we are with the free and reduced apps. We processed another 70 between last month and this month. So finance, we closed the month of September successfully. The audit is scheduled for November 6th. So you see my eyes spinning around in my head, you know, the auditor is here. And from there, we'll know where we ended up in terms fiscally for last year. And then we'll designate in December additional funds to go into the capital reserve, tuition reserve, and the maintenance reserve. We completed the final reports for the IDEA for last year, the ARP IDEA, the ESEA, and the ESER 2, and they're all approved, all those final reports. And today I submitted for our first grant reimbursement for ESEA, IDEA, and the lovely ESER 3. So we're in pretty good shape. So that concludes my report.
I appreciate your colorful reports. They're always positive too. All right, we'll move on to Ms. Phyllis.
Yeah, we met on Monday, October 18th, and we discussed about the resignation of 2 bus drivers. We also discussed the part-time bus driver position, which we are waiting for fingerprints. The substitute launch 8 positions, which is in the agenda for approval at the rate of $17 per hour, and full certified teaching staff members at a rate of $33 per day. And the approval of a custodian for the 2023-2024 school year commencing on or after October 2023 with a salary of $39,265. That's my report.
Thank you, Ms. Phyllis. Mrs. Gottlieb for education.
Just Jimmy's great report.
Mr. Manili for finance.
We had a meeting on Monday. Mr. Gomez went over a majority of it. We also just discussed receiving quotes on resurfacing the diverse school courts and new preschool playground and score sites.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mealy for policy.
We don't currently have.
Mrs. Duran for transportation.
Yes, the quarterly bus inspections have been complete and all the buses passed. The district is still running the Paramus Catholic route. We are looking into combining the Paramus Catholic route with the Applied Tech route. This will save the district money and will keep our custodians in the building. Being both schools are close to each other and we outsource Applied Tech, this will be a good financial move for our district. The part-time bus driver is doing very, very well. By hiring this bus driver, it keeps our custodians in the district instead of being absent out of the building driving the bus. The comprehensive review is ongoing, that we are still looking into purchasing a bus or a number of buses that will also be reviewed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morrison for the Borough Liaison Report.
Well, we have your expansion, you can 5 million, we can have meeting.
All right.
Perfect.
So I'll do expansion. We presented to the Lake Planning Board on October 10th. And those are our plans for the new middle school across the street. Presented to the planning board was a mandatory step in submitting our application to the Department of Education. That application, has it been submitted or is it close to being submitted? It's very close to being submitted. That application, once reviewed and returned by the Department of Education, will give us more of an understanding of how much the state will assist us in funding schools across the street.
Madam President, you will know because you're gonna sign your life away, and so will you, and for the first time, I don't get to sign anything.
So let's hope it's done properly because all right. So that's all that's going on right now. Demolition across the street is going well. You'll see in the coming month or so, the building actually start to come down. Right now, they're working on the inside. So once that happens, it'll happen. Mr. Phytros for the Regional Park Liaison Report.
Nothing really to report outside the regular meeting this week.
You missed one thing, the state monitor did say something about possibly starting an exit.
We'll bring the training, roll out, but it's okay. Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. And Mrs. Bertoli for the NJSBA delegate report.
I attended the Bergen County School Board's meeting virtually on the 3rd. They basically just installed their new members, discussed the Atlantic City and had some guest speakers. If anybody wants a copy, I can forward all the agenda for the evening. All PDF files. I can forward that to the board.
And just so the public knows, the 23rd to the 26th, the Board of Education as well as some administrators will be attending the NJSBA conference down in Atlantic City. We'll now open it up to public comment on agenda items only. All right, we'll now take a block vote on F37 to F39, DO 158, DO 165, P 125 to P 138, C 29 to C 31, and P 08 to P 09. Do I have a motion? Motion. Second.
Okay, ready? Mrs. Bertoli? Mrs. Duran? Mr. Phytros?
Yes.
Mrs. Gottlieb? Mr. Mealy? Mr. LaSuso?
Yes.
Mr. Borisek? Mr. Valley?
Yes.
Mrs. Bradley?
Yes.
All motions passed.
Is there any public comment on non-agenda items? No? All right, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank